Hello everyone, in this video we're going to be taking a look at an article from Bloomberg. Now this was published on October 17th. It's written by Chris Strom, Greg Farrell, and Shannon Pettypiece. Now it's funny. They're talking about how Mueller is going to be releasing, or should be releasing soon, the results of the probe. All right, Mueller ready. I mean, look at the title here. Mueller ready to deliver key findings in his Trump probe, sources say. Now, they're waiting until after the midterm elections. And the reason why I think they are is because the deep state, they know that if they were to do this sooner, and Mueller knows this, he's a Hillary shill, he's a Democrat fuck buddy, so he's part of this. They all know that if they were to release this prior to the midterm elections, the Democrats are going to end up being more fucked than they already are at this point, because their blue wave is shit. They screwed the pooch with the Kavanaugh situation and turned a lot of people off to them, and this would be the icing on the cake if they were to release it prior to the midterm elections. So Rosenstein is pressing Mueller to wrap it up, officials say. Next steps expected to occur after November midterm elections. Yeah, exactly. That should be raising a big red flag for people. It really should. Special counsel Robert Mueller is expected to issue findings on core aspects of his Russia probe soon after the November midterm elections, as he faces intensifying pressure to produce more indictments or shut down his investigation, according to two U.S. officials. Who are these officials, number one? Number two, I love how you try to make it sound like that this has actually, the probe has actually accomplished something and Mueller has actually accomplished something. They got people on bullshit fucking charges because they said one thing that was what they believed to be, from recollection, to be true, and then had a different situation turn out when they were investigated, and it was so minute in a lot of cases with this shit that they turned around, and instead of just going, okay, well, no, you lied to the FBI, and they nailed them with fucking felonies, because it's a felony to lie to the FBI for whatever reason. To me, I think that's complete bullshit, because politicians, they can fucking lie. Zuckerberg can go in front of the house, in front of the house, not get sworn in and lie. But if you're if there's an investigation and you lie to the FBI, even though it's not intentional, say it's not even a lie, but a misstatement, you can get nailed for lying to the FBI. I mean, it's complete bullshit, and that's what they nailed people on with this. Specifically, Mueller is close to rendering judgment on two of the most explosive aspects of his inquiry: whether there were clear incidences of collusion between Russia and Donald Trump's 2016 campaign, and whether the president took any action that constituted obstruction of justice, according to one of the officials, who asked not to be identified, speaking about the investigation. Well, of course, conveniently, Bloomberg has these unnamed sources, and we got to throw in, well, they're going to be talking about this fact of whether or not there was collusion between Russia and Donald Trump's campaign, and whether the president took any action that would be obstruction. Well, I'm going to say right now, it is very unlikely, it's non-existent, that he's actually going to find any of that shit. There's going to be no link to Trump. It's been a year and a half. If he had actually found a link to Trump, we would have seen impeachment proceedings going on long before this point. This is a fucking witch hunt, but yet you people are still trying to come out of this smelling like a fucking rose, and it's not going to happen. That doesn't necessarily mean Mueller's findings will be made public if he doesn't secure unsealed indictments. The regulations governing Mueller's probe stipulate that he can present his findings only to his boss, who is currently Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein. The regulations give a special counsel supervisor some discretion in deciding what is relayed to Congress and what is publicly released, which is complete bullshit, because Congress should have full access to this. The American people, especially with the bullshit that's gone on, should have full access to this. We should be able to see everything that Mueller's done. We should have a penny by penny fucking accounting of it too, attached to that. So we can see that they found absolutely jack fucking shit and how many millions upon millions of dollars it cost the American taxpayer to find jack shit. Because if you did that, then the people would go, holy fucking shit, Mueller's a fucking scumbag, and you biased motherfuckers were trying to, on a witch hunt, incriminate a man that you couldn't find shit on. The question of timing is critical. Mueller's work won't be concluded ahead of the November 6th midterm elections, when Democrats hope to take control of the House and end Trump's one-party hold on Washington. Not going to happen. Democrats are probably going to lose more ground. More likely than not, almost definitely, are going to lose more ground. The blue wave ain't shit. Because of like Kavanaugh and things like that, they've lost what ground they've had. You've pissed off the silent majority, the independents, the non-politicals with this bullshit. And then when you piss off non-politicals to the point of where they will fucking vote, you fucked up big time. Because those people, they just want to go on with their lives and not even worry or think about politics. They just want, you know, to be left alone and do their own fucking shit. Now you've given them a reason to actually go to the polls and fucking vote. You idiots. You fucking Democrat shitbag morons. I gotta thank you for that, though. I really do. But this timeline also raises questions about the future of the probe itself. Trump has signaled he may replace Attorney General Jeff Sessions after the election, a move that could bring in a new boss for Mueller. Rosenstein also might resign or be fired by Trump after the election. Well, he should have been gone long before this fucking point. Sessions should have been gone before this point. I mean, Sessions doesn't want to do what the president wants. All right, every time the president goes to deal with his shit, you know, run the country, Sessions goes and starts gearing up this bullshit about going after, like, you know, the state legalized marijuana situation. Stuff like that. Rosenstein is just a deep state fucking shitbag. I mean, he's like, you know, the Democrats and Hillary's fucking boy. Rosenstein has made it clear that he wants Mueller to wrap up the investigation as expeditiously as possible, another U.S. official has said. The officials gave no indications about the details of Mueller's conclusions. Mueller's office declined to comment for this story. Well, of course, because they haven't found fucking shit. Do you think if Mueller actually found anything that linked to Trump or his campaign or anything that could delegitimize his seat in the Oval Office, do you think they'd be holding on to that? No! That would be out there. It would literally be available for everyone to look at. I mean, the leaks would be like that from a fucking colander. They really would. Pre-election lull. With 3 weeks to go before the midterm elections, it is unlikely Mueller will take any overt action that could be turned into a campaign issue. Oh, so what you're saying is if he was to actually release anything about this, it would fuck the Democrats. Thank you for admitting that. Justice Department guidelines say prosecutors should avoid any major steps close to election that could be seen as influencing the outcome. Oh, really? So what you're saying is this is supposedly a guideline. This is something that should be not a guideline. Because the thing is if something comes out that can influence the election, then so fucking be it. The American people have a right to fucking know. So that way they can make an informed decision when voting. See, you don't want that. Because if you were to actually release this shit, you fuckers know that you would piss off the silent majority with your bullshit even more of constantly throwing in their faces, Russia, 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 okay? The normies, the non-political ones, they go, you know what? I got to get these fuckers out of here. I just want to go on with my fucking life. So I'm going to go vote right now. I'm going to vote these stupid fucks out of office, and then I'm going to go back to my fucking shit. And that's how they'll treat this. Because I've known more than a few non-political types that have done just that when they've gotten pissed off enough about something. And this is one of those situations where they will get pissed off enough that they will go and do just that. It happened with the 2016 presidential election. The independents and the non-politicals were one of the major factors to Trump getting elected. That suggests the days and weeks immediately after the November 6th election may be the most pivotal time since Mueller took over the Russian investigation almost a year and a half ago. So far, Mueller has secured more than 2,000 indictments or guilty pleas. Yeah, I love how they put 2,000 indictments and guilty pleas because they've done multiple indictments on individuals. So they're trying to spread this out here because you've got 6 or 7, you got 3, 4, 5 indictments on one person, 6 on another, 2 on another. So you have this situation where they're trying to make it sound like this is much bigger than what it is. You've got like 3 or 4 people. Was it 4 or 5? But you've got a small group of people. And they're combining guilty pleas with indictments. So you're literally counting something twice. That just goes to show how much Bloomberg is trying to fluff this up and make it look much bigger than what it is. Trump's frustration with the probe, which he routinely derides as a witch hunt, has been growing, prompting concerns in Congress he may try to shut down or curtail Mueller's work at some point. Well, yeah, and the only people in Congress that are worried about that are the fucking Democrats. Maybe some neocons, but it's pretty much all the Democrats. Because they've been able to milk this shit for whatever they can. And if they don't have it to milk anymore, they can't push the Russian narrative. And then they look like fucking spurging idiots instead of having a cover for their being retarded morons. There is no indication, though, that Mueller is ready to close up shop. Even if he does make some findings, according to former federal prosecutors, several matters could keep the probe from going, such as another significant prosecution or new lines of inquiry. Oh my God. They really want... Wow, they want to keep this thing going for all 4 fucking years to the next election when they can fucking pull out some fabricated fucking bullshit like they did with Kavanaugh. I mean, when you say there's no indication, though, that Mueller is ready to close up shop, even if he does make some findings, according to former federal prosecutors, you are seriously trying to set the narrative, hoping that you can stretch this out for 2 more years and then pull bullshit out of your ass like you did with Kavanaugh. You are seriously doing that. I mean, several matters can keep the probe going. I mean, you're like looking, when you're saying that, you're grasping at straws, looking for something new to latch onto, to try to keep this thing going. It's like on life support, okay? And it's had, you know, originally it was just a respirator. Now it's a respirator and a heart bypass. Now you're hoping that you know, the liver's failing. You're hoping you can replace the liver. Oh, the kidneys are going. You're hoping to put new kidneys in and keep this dying probe going with new lines of inquiry or a significant prosecution. It's not going to happen. And because Mueller's investigation has been proceeding quietly out of the public eye, it's possible there have been major developments behind the scenes. And here you are trying to back that narrative up. When the reason, okay, as I've already said, if they actually found something, Mueller would not be quiet. He would be at the top of his lungs going, I told you so, I told you so, look, Russia, Russia, Russia. Instead of keeping his fucking mouth shut. The Democrats would be doing the same exact fucking thing. Rosenstein would be doing the same goddamn thing going, see, I'm not a deep state shill, there is Russia shit. But now everyone's keeping their fucking mouth shut because there's nothing. Mueller only recently submitted written questions to Trump's lawyers regarding potential collusion with Russia, and his team hasn't yet ruled out seeking an interview with the president, according to one of the U.S. officials. No, he shouldn't talk to them. Fuck them. Giuliani's right. He shouldn't talk to them. They can go fuck themselves. Why should he talk to Mueller with an FBI guy there, say one thing, believe it to be true, and then have the one little mishap, like he stated something was written one way and it was misspelled or some shit, and they go, oh, you lied to the feds. Because they'll fucking get that fucking desperate. If Trump refused an interview request, Mueller could face the complicated question of whether to seek a grand jury subpoena of the president. The Justice Department has a standing policy that a sitting president can't be indicted. No, it's not a policy. This is what's fucked up. They try to claim that something is a policy when it's not a policy. No, this is actually more than a policy. They've looked at the Constitution of the United States, and the way that the Constitution is worded, a sitting president cannot have any criminal action or be indicted or subpoenaed or anything like that in this type of situation. It's not a policy. It's according to the fucking Constitution, which is something you people on the fucking left and the legacy media and in the deep state, all you fuckers hate the Constitution because it stops you from pulling the bullshit that you want to try to pull here. The subpoena will never happen. The indictment will never happen. You cannot indict a sitting president. You have to impeach them first. This is how the Constitution works. You have to impeach them. Then they can be fucking indicted. Sorry to break it to you, but that's not a policy. That's how the Constitution's fucking written. At the same time, Mueller is tying down some loose ends. 4 of his 17 prosecutors have left the special counsel's office in recent months. 3 are going back to their previous Justice Department jobs, and the 4th has become a research fellow at Columbia Law School. That means shit's winding down, or they're bailing ship like fucking rats. One or the other. I don't see any other reason why that would be happening. It's one or the other. After several postponements, Mueller's team has agreed to a sentencing date for Michael Flynn, Trump's former national security advisor, who pleaded guilty to 1 count of making false statements last year. It wasn't actually a false fucking statement. He believed something to be one way, and it turned out that he misremembered. It wasn't an intentional false statement. The December 18th Why would you put abbreviation for December here? The December 18 date comes more than a year after Mueller secured a cooperation deal with Flynn, suggesting that Mueller's team has all it needs from him. Or it could be the fact that due process, he should be, quickly dealt with. You're supposed to have that as part of due process. You're not supposed to be kept in legal limbo. And they don't have shit from him to fuck Trump. Sorry to break it to you. Trump's former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, struck his own cooperation agreement with Mueller last month after being convicted at a trial in Virginia on 8 counts of bank fraud, filing false tax returns, and a failure to file a foreign bank account. Which is, what's convenient about this whole thing is, and I love this. Oh, God. He was doing it with Hillary's campaign manager and fucking his brother. But yet, they get Podestas, the Podesta brothers. They get a free fucking pass and they go after him. Oh, but, this probe isn't playing favorites and it's looking for Russia and shit like that. They gave the Podesta's brother fucking immunity, and they haven't even talked to the campaign manager, Podesta brother. I mean, this is crooked as fucking shit, but yeah, you're trying to make it sound like, oh yeah, this was a legitimate thing with him. The Podesta brothers should have hung with him. But that wasn't politically convenient. It was actually very inconvenient if they were to. So, Mueller, being a Democrat shitbag fucking shill, who's Hillary's boy, gave him a free fucking pass. The plea agreement let him avoid a second trial in Washington. The judge in the Virginia trial, who wasn't part of the plea agreement, has scheduled a sentencing hearing Friday, which could complicate Manafort's cooperation agreement with Mueller. Yeah. Because it wasn't part of the same thing. So Mueller didn't really have the power to make a cooperation deal and make that go away to an extent. Going to show you the overreach of Mueller. Mueller's prosecutors also have met with Michael Cohen, Trump's former personal lawyer. Yeah, a shitbag who was recording his clients illegally. A shitbag who pled to something that he wasn't actually guilty of because his fucking attorney was even stupider than him. So yeah, Cohen pleaded guilty in New York in August to tax evasion, bank fraud, and violations of campaign finance laws, which it wasn't a campaign finance law violation. He was just a fucking moron who had an attorney when it came to campaign finance law, and his attorney was even dumber. The separate investigation headed by the U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan is one of several New York probes involving the Trump Organization and could ultimately prove more damaging to the president than Mueller's work. Bullshit. See, this is what's funny. They're so desperate right now that the fact that Cohen is a stupid fuck, who especially when it comes to campaign finance law, a shady stupid fuck, hires a lawyer that clearly doesn't understand campaign finance laws and says, well, you broke the law, plead out. Or it was the fact of, you plead to this crime, we won't nail you on another crime. It's one or the other. It's either he's a fucking moron and he's pleading to a crime he's not guilty of because his attorney is even dumber than him, or they basically said, you plead guilty to this or we're going to nail you for something for far, far fucking worse, even though you're not guilty of this. Which, if that was the case, that's really shady, possibly illegal shit that the New York Attorney's Office in Manhattan, U.S. Attorney's Office in Manhattan, should be investigated for. Manafort's plea. Former federal prosecutors said in recent interviews that Manafort's plea deal probably advanced Mueller's timeline for determining whether there was collusion. Oh, bullshit. Bullshit, because there's no collusion. Look at it. They're trying to make Manafort the missing fucking link, that there is collusion. They're trying to imply this shit. I mean, well, you know, they can't release anything until after the election because they don't want to do undue influence. But we're going to fucking talk out our ass, and we're going to try to influence people and actually convince them of this bullshit, because that's what's going on here. Manafort could be assisting Mueller's team on questions related to whether the Trump campaign changed the Republican Party's stance on Ukraine as part of an understanding with the Russian government, and whether the Russians helped coordinate the release of hacked emails related to Democrat Hillary Clinton with members of the Trump campaign and another former prosecutor. Wait, I'm sorry. I got to reread this this section. And whether the Russians helped coordinate the release of hacked emails related to Democrat Hillary Clinton with members of Trump's campaign, said another former prosecutor who asked not to be named. Wow. Well, when you're saying that fucking type of shit, I wouldn't want to be named either. When you are literally trying to link the Seth Rich DNC hack to the Russians, when that's pretty much been disproven, and you're trying to do so and then link it to the Trump campaign, it's pretty fucking funny. And you put your name on that, you're gonna get fucked. You really are. You're just gonna look like a fucking idiot. Manafort is also key to understanding a June 2016 meeting at Trump Tower between Donald Trump Jr. and a group of Russians who had promised damaging information concerning Clinton, the former official said. Which, we've already been through this. All right, this has already been proven. This would not be collusion. This would not be anything illegal. It's opposition research, number one. Number two, this Russian attorney, she was there supposedly for adoption. She was smuggled into the country by the Obama administration because she didn't have a visa or anything. The only way she could have got in here is if someone in the Obama administration gave her a free fucking pass to come in. It was a setup. She has which, on that note, she has ties to Christopher Steele and Fusion GPS. Yet they're going to try to fucking portray that there's something there with that meeting at Trump Tower with Trump Jr. You guys are so fucking desperate, it's not even funny. This is shit that's been that has been come out. It's public fucking knowledge. Yet you're still trying to push this bullshit narrative. Even though the facts are right there in front of you going, you're a fucking liar. You're a fucking moron. You really think people are going to buy into this shit? Are you serious? Get a fucking clue. That's what the facts are saying to you. Yet you still want to push this shit. Manafort appears to have good material to offer, said Samuel Buell, a former federal prosecutor who teaches at Duke University School of Law. Oh, really? He's not going to get that deal unless he can help Mueller make a case against one or more people, Buell said. Cooperators can't expect leniency unless they provide substantial assistance in the prosecution of others, Buell added, citing sentencing guidelines. But here's the thing. Mueller is so desperate, and he doesn't have shit. So, he's going to make these fucking killer deals for stuff that really isn't going to help him. But he's so desperate for anything that he's willing to offer everything, including the kitchen sink, to try to get some dirt on Trump, to try to get some dirt on members of his campaign, to try to get some dirt on someone to justify his fucking existence. Because right now, people look at him, at least people that aren't in this Trump derangement syndrome, neocon, neo-lib, legacy media bullshit bubble that they've created. The people who aren't in that bubble, when it comes to Manafort, Mueller and his existence, a lot of people, myself, are looking at him going, you know what? His mother should have done the world a favor and fucking swallowed. Because the best part of him is obviously run down her inner thigh. I mean, this is some fucked up shit. Although the days and weeks after the election might test Mueller in new ways, he has confronted pressure before to shut down. Yeah, he was a defiant little fucker that was like, well, I know there's something, and I'm going to find something because I got to justify this shit, and I got to fucking prove that Hillary was robbed and all this other crap. That's what it was about. Done by Thanksgiving, Trump's lawyers have attempted to publicly pressure Mueller into wrapping up his investigation, setting up artificial deadlines since the early days of the probe, when they predicted it would wrap up by the end of 2017. In August 2017, then White House lawyer Ty Cobb said he would be embarrassed if the investigation dragged on past Thanksgiving. Yeah, well, it is embarrassing for this country that it's dragged on this far. And there should be more pressure from Mueller to wrap up his investigation. And you talk about artificial deadlines. So you're saying an artificial deadline. So what you're saying is he should be able, without producing any fucking results, to sit there and keep digging and digging and digging and digging and digging. While you guys pray, even though you're probably atheists, 2 out of the 3 writers, if not all 3, I'm just assuming. Because the way that you wrote this propagandist fucking thing, you are not spiritual people who believe in freedom. You are authoritarian fucking left bullshit Trump deranged fuckwits. That's just my opinion. But when you say artificial deadlines, okay, you want basically for Mueller to keep digging and digging and digging and digging and digging until he finally finds something that satisfies you, even though it might not be related to Russia or hacking or influencing or anything like that, that can be used against Trump to try to impeach him. Because you feel that Hillary was robbed. It's clear with this bullshit fucking narrative you get going on here. That you feel that Trump is illegitimate and that Russia hacked the thing and that you're just trying to keep pushing this narrative that Mueller found something or is going to find something and that his existence is justified or is, but that's not going to be the case. I mean, giving an arbitrary date that an investigation should be done by is not an artificial date. Not when you've been investigating for 1.5 years and you haven't found fucking dick on the note of what this inquiry, this investigation is tasked to be investigating. Even if Mueller's probe stretched through 2019, the timeline wouldn't be unprecedented. Independent counsel Kenneth Starr spent 4 years investigating President Bill Clinton before releasing his report on the Monica Lewinsky affair, which spun out a probe into an Arkansas land deal known as Whitewater. That's a bit of revisionist fucking history. That is just a bit of revisionist fucking history. Wow. And I love how you're trying to equate a bullshit investigation with a legitimate one. It doesn't work like that. I'm surprised you actually brought up Whitewater. I really am. But here's the thing. Kenneth Starr, that wasn't an investigation about the Monica Lewinsky affair, but you got to make it about that. It was about the Whitewater situation. It was about improper finances. Monica Lewinsky was gravy on top of the fucking thing. I love how you got to revise a little fucking history here. Oh, well, they went in looking into tricky, slick Will and found a blowjob. No, they were looking into financial improprieties, which led to Whitewater and Monica. And it was a land grab, not a land deal. And then look at the fact that I believe, if memory serves, didn't one of their business partners or more than one of their business partners conveniently get the Clinton double tap to the head or heart? Suicide, robbery treatment. I believe it was at least one, if not two. It took almost 2 years for special counsel Patrick Fitzgerald to indict Scooter Libby, Vice President Dick Cheney's chief of staff, for lying to investigators and obstruction of justice in 2005 in the investigation into the public outing of CIA agent Valerie Plame. And this, again, nice attempt to, you're trying to compare apples to oranges. You get this issue with conflation going on here, okay? Because right now, you're trying to conflate legitimate investigations that had actual evidence that's with a preponderance of it that to spawn these investigations, to a witch hunt that used a fucking discredited piss fucking dossier from Christopher Steele that was started by British intelligence, handed off, illegally. I mean, you got British intelligence literally being involved in this. This was some shady fucking shit. That's illegal. But that, you don't talk about that. Okay, come up with this bullshit fucking narrative in this bullshit fucking report of Trump in Russia and supposedly there being a videotape of hookers pissing on a bed that the Obamas slept in and all this other stupid shit. That was the basis, in large part, for the Russian investigation. Not the fact of the supposed hacking, because that fell apart shortly after that claim was made. The piss dossier was the basis for this investigation. I love how you leave that fucking fact out, you shady little fucks. I mean, this just goes to show how desperate they are. Because if they brought up the fact the piss dossier was one of the major, ultimately, the major contributing factor to the Russia investigation, they look like fucking morons. They look like dishonest, sleazy shills. It goes to show that it is a witch hunt. And they don't want that to happen. They don't want to be exposed like that. But anyway, I've covered this well enough. I'm just going to leave things here. If you liked this video, depending on where you are watching it, please give it an upvote or thumbs up. If you want to know when new content of mine hits the internet, don't forget to subscribe to one or more of my social media or video accounts listed here. Also, with YouTube, don't forget to ring that bell. You can find all of my video content on both BitChute and YouTube. This may not be the case with other places I upload to, but I will try to minimize this happening. You are always welcome to interact with me at any of these sites on the list, so feel free to do so. If you have anything you want me to cover in a video, when it comes to news or current events, send it right along to me. I will try to do my best to cover it. As always, thank you for watching.